Hi there, here's 8 powerful superpower creative things to kick off your 2025 with a bang. Number one, if you want to be creative, this is creativity. I'm talking about creating music, I'm creating about making cabinets out of woodwork, I'm talking about pottery, art, anything that's creative that floats your creative boat. First of all, number one is to create a regular schedule for yourself where you can actually make time to do what you're going to do. There's procrastination, even though you love what you're doing and creating, is a massive problem. If you schedule regular time, preferably at a time when your brain is fresh and is feeling the vibe. For me, it's first thing in the morning. You might be a night owl. Even if it's half an hour a day, even if it's half an hour every other day or 10 or 15 minutes, but you're scheduling yourself regular creative time and you do something creative, whether you're feeling it or not, it's vitally, vitally important. I really, really don't think it's worth sitting there waiting for inspiration. Schedule that creative time. Let everybody else know this is what you're going to do. It's you time, special time for you to do, to create, to play. Put it in your calendar and stick to it. Second thing, number two, focus on the creative process. I'm looking at my notes down here. Focus on the creative process. So I think we are conditioned, particularly when we reach adulthood, for results. We compare ourselves with other people. We're absolutely conditioned through school, through job interviews, at work, with attainment and all of this sort of thing, to achieve and quantify and compare ourselves. And this is complete rubbish if you are doing anything creative in an amateur or even a professional, really, in an amateur sort of context. Rather than focusing on the outcome, so how good is my painting, how good is my piece of music, you need to concentrate on the process. How much am I enjoying creating this, irrespective of what it looks like or sounds like? What am I learning? How is this making me feel? And concentrating on having a inspirational, exciting, beautiful, serene experience, rather than comparing, oh my goodness, this thing isn't working, is really, really important and a major mind shift. Number three, collect stuff, explore and expose yourself to all sorts of inspiring influences, and do this with purpose. So make it your job to collect images, to listen, make playlists, to listen to stuff, look at stuff, go to art galleries. Be inspired by stuff, and again, do it on a regular basis. Bombard yourself with influences and inspiration, and it will soak in and it will come out. And there's no real sort of process of osmosis, and there's no real way of sort of doing that other than just literally just experiencing what really, really floats your boat. But you have to do it in a purposeful and regular way rather than it being random. Organise some accountability. So there's nothing more frightening than somebody saying, well, have you done your thingy? As I said at the beginning, it's a great idea to have scheduled regular time. Why not have a check-in with somebody, a trusted friend or family member at the end of each week and say, okay, well, I did do this and this is what it was like. But it's not a check-in to see, well, what have you produced or achieved? A check-in to say, well, how was it? How did you feel? What was the process like? What was the experience like? What are you thinking? What are you exploring? What are your thinking patterns? But having that accountability and having somebody along for the ride can be really, really helpful. Start calling yourself a composer, a potter, an artist. I think we see ourselves too much as a mum, a dad, a brother, a sister, a work colleague, a boss, or whatever we are. We've got 101 labels, but are you fundamentally one of those things? Yes, you might be, but they can be tangentially sort of attached to the fact that you are an artist. And for many of us that are creatives or artists, that's in our very core and our very soul. And when somebody asks you, well, what are you? What do you do? Well, okay, I work in a petrol station, but also I'm an artist. And that takes a bit of guts to say, but actually verbalizing that is really, really important for making you feel creative and making you Be honest and open and vulnerable with your creative self. Devise a way of recording your progress. So this sort of links in with the accountability thing. Now, I'm not talking about recording how many tracks you write or how many pots you throw or how many cabinets you create. I'm talking about progress of your creativity, progress of expanding your horizon, progress in terms of feeling inspired and feeling creative and wanting to do what you want to do, and just being honest with yourself and letting that sort of soul come out through your creativity. Try and think of a way of recording that somehow. Because if we see ourselves making progress, then it inspires us. And it's a really difficult one, because the obvious thing is to have a stack of sketches or something if you're doing a pencil lines or drawing or whatever, if that's what you do. But try and think of a way of avoiding it being a quantitative sort of recording, but it being is it possible to plot how much you're enjoying yourself? Is it possible for you to record and quantify how creative and inspired you're feeling on a weekly basis and see how that's going? Don't know. I don't have any answers to that, but I think having some sort of way of recording progress and seeing your progress can be really, really important. Even if it's talking to the camera and just recording how you're feeling about your progress is possibly not a bad way of doing it. Collaboration, no matter what level you are working on, and it can be cross-media collaboration. You can find somebody to work with. Working with somebody else can totally throw open a whole sort of gamut of new ideas and experiences. I think when we sit working on our own, it can be great, and it's a fantastic sort of personal journey of discovery, but we are confined by the boxes that we live in, the context that we live in, and talking with other creatives, working with the other creatives can expand your horizons like massively. Give your mind a chance to create. This is number 8. Give your mind a chance to create and work subconsciously. Just giving yourself space to be thinking about being creative is massively important. So the subconscious mind will work on creative ideas while you're walking, often go for a walk, you're in the shower, daydreaming, journaling, all of these things where you just give yourself space in the day just to let your brain wiggle its way around and think freely. I think often we feed our brains too much. When we're at work, we're concentrating on work. When we're sorting the kids out, we're concentrating on that. If we're cooking dinner, we're doing that. If we're watching TV, we're feeding the brain. If we're, listening to something on the radio while we're driving, we're feeding the brain. There's all of this, stimulation. Actually just sitting and allowing the brain to freewheel. So going for a walk in the countryside without headphones on, standing in the shower until the hot water runs out for ages and just freewheeling, lying in the bath, journaling and stream of consciousness, whatever works for you, can be massively freeing and can really, really help sort out and give you sort of inspired ideas about where you might want to go with your work, sort out problems that you might be having with the technicalities of your work. There's all sorts of things that the brain will do sort of without trying if you trust it and let it sort of get on with it. It's amazing. It's an amazing process. For me, walking the dog works really, really well if I'm stuck on something. Sleeping is really good for me. Weirdly enough, I will sort of wake up the next morning with oh yeah, I know what to do, and I have a vague sense of sort of having unravelled it a bit in the night. So having that freewheeling brain time also as a creative is really important. Okay, if you're still with me, thank you so much. A bit waffly at the beginning of this video, I think, but hopefully I got the 8 points across. Go away and be creative and have a fantastic 2025. Okay, thanks ever so much for watching and hope to see you in another video soon. Thanks then, bye-bye.